Selling property in Virginia is not really about luck. It really comes down to three main things. And today we're going to be talking about all of them. My name is Quann. I'm an associate broker here in Virginia. Today we're going to be showing 3 different tips on how to present, how to be competitive, and how to promote your listing properly. Stick around and you'll walk away with all sorts of good tips. Let's get into it. First things first, we have to price the house. Now, the biggest thing to keep in mind is we might find a buyer that will buy it for the price that you want. But ultimately, if they're getting a loan, the bank's got to approve the value. And everything comes down to comparable sales. We've touched on this in other videos, but comparable sales means a comparable house. It can't be a 1,000 square foot house versus a 5,000 square foot house. Those are not comparable sales. It can't be a 1-story versus a 3-story. We're trying to keep a house as like-kind as possible. And then we're gonna make a pile of adjustments on it. Me as a real estate agent, my goal is to make those adjustments and find the comps that suit your needs. So what I'm gonna do is called a CMA, comparative market analysis. And that's where I'm gonna find at least 3, if not 5 of like-kind properties. And then we're gonna go down line by line and start breaking them down. The biggest adjustment for value on your property is gonna be finished square footage. And that's usually above grade. Below grade's another one, but it doesn't pull as much weight as above grade. Below grade meaning like a basement or below the grade of the house. Above grade square footage costs the most, foundation and roof cost the most. So the more square footage that we can get in there, above grade is usually going to be one of the biggest driving factors when it comes to price. We're also going to be looking for other things like driveways, garages, fences, decks, sheds, upgrades with the house, but also things to keep in mind. Just because you put a new roof on it doesn't mean we're going to get a lot of value out of it. That is a general homeowner's maintenance issue. And most buyers are going to want that. If they're looking at 2 of the same identical houses, one has a new roof and one doesn't, there's not really going to be a cost associated with that from a value aspect. But the buyer's more than likely going to pick the house that has the newer roof. It makes sense. So I've been where I was agent number 2 or 3 in line where they listed with a couple other people, but they were just unrealistic on price. It wasn't that the agent did anything wrong, but you know, the market just didn't value the house as much as the seller did. So pricing the house right, we got the house sold, everybody was happy. That leads me to number 2, presentation. Presentation's everything. Obviously, we can have a really nice house that just doesn't show well because mostly clutter. And sometimes buyers just cannot get over that. They just don't like the house because crazy accent walls or crazy furniture and just some of the weirdest things, but I've seen it all. Sometimes buyers don't want to paint. So just because you have that crazy wall and you think, well, paint's easy, anybody can fix that, doesn't mean the buyer is going to see it the same way. Now I have a whole video talking about how to prepare your house for listing, but we'll talk about a few items. Simple fixes like fresh paint, that curb appeal, clean landscaping, and declutter. I almost always recommend decluttering. If you look into a model house, do you ever see any clutter? Absolutely not. Makes the house look bigger, makes it look cleaner, and it doesn't give that personal touch with all the clutter going on. And so declutter, I think everybody should stand by this one. And the biggest thing is you're gonna have to move it no matter what when I sell the house. So we might as well just get that gone. Whether it's going in the trash or getting packed in a box, let's get it out of there. Obviously, when we're talking about presentation, we need to get professional content done on this house. Do not stand by your agent when they're taking their own photos. Unless they're a professional photographer, but then you'd question why they're in real estate too. Don't do it. Don't, especially if you start seeing your agent take out cell phone. Now I will for coming soon photos to wait until we get professional photography, but those guys have cameras that are worth as much as my truck. Let's let them do their job on making sure the house looks good. Remember, half of my battle is just getting people to the house. We want to make it look really good on the internet. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but things like professional photography matter. I also like 3D tours. It's a really good tool to help buyers, especially if they're out of town, to be able to walk through the house. Aerial is a big thing, especially if we have something that we need to showcase, like you're on multiple acres of land or you have a pool or something like that. But that online listing that we're building out, you want to show as best as you possibly can. And that doesn't mean we're altering those photos. One thing I'm toying with right now is the virtual staging. Sometimes it makes the house look so good that when you show up and there's nothing in the house, well, it doesn't look that good anymore. It doesn't look as good as you're excited about. You were excited walking in because you saw this beautiful house online with all this virtual staging, and then you show up and it's kind of dull. We wanted to show as good as we can online. That way when they get there, we exceed their expectations. And then the last thing before you get your house and we go live is promotion. We want to promote it everywhere we can. Sort of multi-channel marketing, right? So we want to do email, we want to do social media, of course we want to do the MLS, we want to do all the websites that pull IDX, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, Mid-VA Homes, which is mine, and then all the other ones with thousands of websites instantly when I go live. But also having all those Google pages built out, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, having everything come together, and then doing things like open house, some more old school things, email marketing, flyers, all these things. We want to get as much exposure on the property as possible, especially in those first couple weeks, because that is when you're going to get your best offer, whether it be exactly the timing that you want, exactly the pricing that you want, where we can dictate the most terms as possible. Because if not, then we're say 30, 40, 50 days on the market, and then buyers are coming to us saying, well, we'll give you this if you'll take it. And that's never really a good thing for a seller. So with the right price, stellar presentation, and smart promotion, you'll be well on your way for a quick sale here in Virginia. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out my video where we're navigating appraisals and inspections that I did last week to ensure everything is a smooth closing process. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next video.